Great to have you back on the John Fredericks Media Network and outside the Beltway. Neil McCabe coming up. This segment brought to you by the Safe Supervision Act, of which I am a huge proponent of, as you know, because I can do math, I can do arithmetic. Even though I have a calculator on my phone, I can do it in my head. Every dollar we waste on ridiculous, unnecessary federal supervision is a dollar we can't use to fight violent crime. It's as simple as that. We waste so much money on needless supervision for nothing, supervising people that don't need it, that just want to assimilate, that got let out of jail, doesn't have anything to do with this act. Parole board let them out. Now they got to get back assimilated into society. We don't want to reduce recidivism. They do it by getting a job. And they have a job. They don't need to get monitored if they're doing everything right. So this is why we want this. The Safer Supervision Act cuts the ridiculous bureaucrat waste, frees up law enforcement resources to protect families from serious threats. It's really that simple. It is so simple. Now, it's a smarter way to improve public safety. We stop the waste, we protect our communities, and we encourage those that have been let out of jail to assimilate back in society, get a job, be with their families, be productive citizens, and not go back. And that is the whole purpose of this. So that's why I want to fix federal supervision. Newt Gingrich is for this. Many Republicans are for this. I'm a proponent of it, have been for some time. Visit safersupervision.com to help. Safersupervision.com. This message paid for by the Reform Action Fund. Joining me now, I don't know why I laugh when I say this. Joining me now, Neil McCabe. We call him Reporter McCabe. He's like a roving reporter working for a lot of different people here and there. And good to see him now back at the White House. Once in a while in the press briefing room where he stands over on the other side with in his own spot. Neil, it's good to have you.
Hey, John. Thank you, I guess, right? That's really kind of nice, I suppose.
You could be here live in my studio, in this nice, comfy, warm studio with my Eden Pure heater going on. Instead, you're out there in 90-degree weather, freezing your ass off. Why aren't you here?
The vignette. I got you a vignette, Johnny.
Okay, go ahead. Okay.
Look at that. Capitol Dome.
You got the Capitol.
That's called broadcasting. Look it up.
You and me are old school. If we added up our age between us, we probably hit Thomas Jefferson. All right, listen.
Okay.
Number one, before we get into it, just for the record, Neil's now at the White House. He's trying to work his way in there. He goes to the press briefings. Neil and I are the two oldest members of the White House press corps.
Listen.
It's not even close. We are the two oldest members by chronological age.
John, I don't even buy green bananas anymore. That's how old I am.
So you're outside the Capitol. So last night, Trump, though, we had the deal on the government. Then apparently Lindsey Graham pulled a little temper tantrum. He wants cash back for his phone or something. The hell's going on?
Well, all right. Well, the cash for the phone, obviously, right, these senators and other members of Congress were surveilled unconstitutionally, illegally. There is a fund that the government has where they basically say, hey, if the government did you wrong, we're going to do you wrong. And these senators are like, hey, come on, how about some cabbage? Right? You're not supposed, in a democracy, right, the way this Constitution is set up, you can't have a separation of powers if the president is allowed to spy on members of Congress. And, there's always rumors, John, right, you hear about these congressmen who, out of the blue, right, they got this huge program, and then all of a sudden they say, actually, I'm quitting Congress, and I'm going to live in a cabin. I want to spend time with my family. And it's like everyone knows it's because the CIA or the FBI picked up something, right? Somebody puts a touch on them. And that's always been sort of under the surface. It's been going on, like J. Edgar Hoover, his whole racket was spying on people and blackmailing them. But the Biden administration took it to another level and these guys are saying, "Hey, I got to get paid." So I think that's what it is.
So now what happens? I mean, President Trump yesterday during the Melania rollout said, "Oh, the government is going to be, we're going to get a deal passed before the movie ends." They had it, and then
Right.
Lindsey Graham blew it up. So now? And
Ah,
it's another day. So what happens now?
it'll be fine. I think it'll be fine. Lindsey Graham is interesting because a lot of people don't agree with his policies or his politics, but he is a tremendous friend of the President of the United States. And he has been a great friend to the President of the United States. And with Trump, he's like old school, right? He works on handshakes. He takes you at your word. And so that doesn't always work. It works in New York. It doesn't always work in Washington. But Lindsey Graham has a lot of latitude because he is a personal friend of the president. And then we'll see how it shakes out. I do think it's interesting that the president announced Kevin Warsh for the Federal Reserve. And I think that that signals, everyone was saying that the president supported a weak dollar. Warsh is actually a strong dollar guy. He's an inflation hawk. And you're already seeing commodities, gold and silver are down. And what's interesting is that Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, before the election, he said, yes, there will be tariffs, but a stronger dollar, I mean, the tariffs will cause inflation, but a stronger dollar will eat up that inflation. And so we could actually see inflation below 2% just by naming Warsh. It'd be interesting to see how it shakes out, John.
A lot of people thought it was going to be Kevin Hastert, right? We both know Kevin,
Yep.
chief of President Trump one, chief of his economic advisors, always in a good mood, always smiling. There's something about the guy you just can't not like. Very intelligent. Definitely was going to lower interest rates, and he did media. I was just saying this earlier. He did media nonstop for a month.
Oh, the gaggle king.
Yeah. So, I mean, I thought he was kind of tipping his hand that he thought he was going to get it, and then President Trump said, "Well, I made a decision. I'll announce it in a week." Then it was 2 days. Then it was a day. Then it was now. So he made a decision. Obviously, he wanted to get it out there. Why did he move off of Hastert, do you think?
Well, I think something happened at Davos, and I think that as you know, in every administration, different cabinet officers and advisors go up and down, depending on how they're getting along with the president. I think Bessent had a phenomenal rollout of the Trump accounts, and I'm thinking that Bessent, like I said before, he's a strong dollar guy, and I think that for the long term, they decided to go with Warsh. I mean, they almost went with the guy from BlackRock, which would have been, I don't know. It's like, I'm sure he's a nice guy, but putting somebody from BlackRock at the Federal Reserve,
No, you can't do
that's
that.
no, I mean, it's
That
great.
would have been universal outrage. MAGA's on the brink as it is with being pissed off about a bunch of stuff. That would have put him over the edge. So they made a good decision there. Look, I like Warsh. I think it's a good decision. Also, there'll be no confirmation battle. I mean, he was a former Fed governor. That certainly had to go into their thinking. Hastert might have been a little bit tougher. I think he would have gotten through, but it would have been tougher. But you're not going to get that with Warsh. I mean, he's one of them. He's been a Fed governor. He's held in high esteem. He's got all the track record for it. There'll be no opposition. He'll sail through. When are we going to get this budget done?
Well, they're going to separate out the Homeland Security budget from everything else. And it's interesting that going into a midterm, the Democrats have once again gone after a Republican president, his number one issue, and they've kneecapped him on it. I don't know if your parents told you about President Reagan, John, but going into the 82 midterms, the Democrats forced him to raise taxes. And they did the same thing to George H.W. Bush. It's like they go after you, and then you betray your base, and then what are we doing? And so they could not figure out how to beat Trump on immigration. And somehow they've now, maybe not Trump himself, but the people around Trump, they're starting to get weak-kneed, and they're going to cut a deal on Homeland Security. I hope to God they do not get rid of Kristi Noem, because Christie has been so strong. And you want to compare 45 to 47. In 47, you have people like Noam who will catch arrows for the president. During Trump 45, all of his cabinet officers were hiding under the desk. Noam is out there every day. She takes every interview. She does the press conferences. And it's like, and everything she does is scripted by the White House. She's not running her own shop. She is literally doing the president's business every day. And I think there are people in the White House, they don't necessarily, it's not that they don't like Noam. It's just they don't like chaos. They want everything to be quiet. We want to talk about, they have messaging on their calendar. This is what we want to talk about Tuesday. This is what we want to talk about Wednesday. And then Minnesota happens, and they're like, what about my media calendar? And so I hope the president realizes what a great person he has in Noam. And I'll make this other point because it also circles back to what you were saying. When MAGA gets upset and MAGA says, oh, let's fire somebody, right? You cannot fire these cabinet officers without a confirmation fight to replace them. And in a confirmation fight, the president is going to have to cut deals and he's going to have to give stuff away. And so you may win by getting a new cabinet officer, but you're going to lose with what you have to do to get that replacement confirmed, John.
I never thought of that, but I agree with you 100% on Kristi Noem. 110%. And it's interesting because we hadn't talked about this, but I said that earlier, that when I look at who's running immigration and I look at Stephen Miller and Kristi Noem, and let's not forget Corey Lewandowski, because he is really the backbone behind this whole thing. Like him or not, disclaimer, he's my best friend, right? We all get it. But I love the guy. But he's fighting out there. And he's got his issues, but he's fighting. But these three are fighting, and you got a lot of weak-kneed weasels now, all collapsing. Immigration was our number one issue. We got to get back to that. And I just want to get your comments on this. I said earlier, a little bit earlier today in the show, that the shock of America seeing what it actually takes to implement the policy of deportation is making people uncomfortable. Like, they want them out. Every poll says they want them out.
Right.
But when they see it on your cell phone, somebody's taking a picture that's uncomfortable, and then they don't want it, but they do want it.
That was the plan. The plan was we bring them in, and all these middle class professional leftists, right? They don't want to pay an American to clean their gutters, mow their lawn, shovel their driveway. They rely on these illegal wage slaves. And it's like, you want me to pay an American to clean my pool, to brush down my horses? That makes them furious. And the whole idea is you integrate all these illegal wage slaves into your community and into your economy, and then pulling them out is nearly impossible. And that's what they've done. I believe it was their plan from the start.
I don't think there's any doubt, but we have to stand tall here. This is why I agree with you that Noem should stay. She's doing a great job. So is Stephen Miller. But we just got to have the backbone here. I mean, whenever things go south, it's the weak-kneed rhino Republicans that cave and they start getting in Trump's ear, and you got to do the optics are bad. It's going to hurt us. We don't like this. We're getting calls, this, that. I mean, they just cave. Trump didn't win 3 times by caving. He won by kicking ass. He won by standing tall. I believe on this issue, Neil, he needs to continue to do that.
1,000%. And remember, Obama was willing to burn majorities in the House and Senate to get Obamacare, and 15 years later, it's the law of the land.
And we can't get out of it, and you're right about that. Okay, 2 things, Neil. One, I don't know why I don't come on a show every week. Like, this makes no sense. So starting today, 7:45 Friday or Thursday, whenever you can make it, you're on like every single week. So you got a segment.
Yep.
And we'll brand it Reporter McCabe. Oh, another thing I could give to Marcy, my branding queen of all time. Let's get her involved in it. In fact, I got to jot this down, Tyler. Hang on. Otherwise, I'll forget.
Yeah, go ahead, John. We're live on the air, but you just stop and just start writing stuff.
This is the way our company rolls. Most of the business decisions we make are right on the air, right? Everybody knows that. So they're all stakeholders in the company because we just make decisions on the air because who's got time, right? We've got you here. Why call you up when you're here? Doesn't
Exactly.
make any sense. So my audience is involved in it. Okay, so all audience, we're going to give McCabe a segment and we're going to brand it Reporter McCabe or something. We'll get Neil involved, but we're going to give it to our branding guru, Marcy McCarthy. Now, Neil, let me ask you the most important question. And
Sure.
then I got to go because I got Rob Crilly coming up next. Washington Examiner's got a new.
Who now follows me on X, and I'm thrilled.
How do people follow you on X?
At Reporter McCabe on all the socials.
So I got to jot that down too. At Reporter McCabe. That's what the branding should be at Reporter McCabe. Now, here's the other thing. Most important question. I got an event coming up on Thursday, February 5th, 5:30 to 8 p.m. Bobby Vans launching my campaign for District Ward 2 Chair. There'll be food there, cash bar. John McGuire, my special guest, Congressman McGuire. Are you going to grace us with your presence?
Absolutely. Absolutely. McGuire is a great American hero. And he's a great guy, and you're a great guy. And Bobby Vance is a great venue. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
So, I'm sorry you're no longer with the federal government, blah, blah, blah. But I like it better that you're on it. This is a lot more fun.
I don't know. It was a relentless march of glory, but now it's over.
We're doing a bus tour in Iowa. Maybe there's a way,
Oof.
maybe there's a way to get you to go with us. Remember the bus tour you did? I go into
Oh, my God.
I don't know where we were. I forget. He was with us.
We're in Virginia.
It was,
I'm just yakking. I'm just yakking and yakking and
all I
yakking.
did is I laughed. I got to tell my audience. I laughed. Me and Larry, we laughed for 5 days. I mean, this guy was like, we're trying to work, and he's like telling these stories, and all he did was laugh for 5 days. So we got to get you back.